Hello and welcome back to Verkstad again. You may be wondering what this is. This is a Mercedes actually from the underside, and this will now be the next project in my garage. So I will finish washing this and then I can show you some more about this project. So I just filmed the last part of this build and I now started the next build and helped my dad a little bit with his Fiat project here also. Took it all apart and he has now taken all the underbody coating from here with like a multi-tool, which was really handy on this car to take the underbody coating off. Just some small rust holes to fix and this will be sandblasted and painted. There is all the Fiat parts on one pallet. And here on the other pallet is all the parts which are going to be sandblasted and painted for my next project. And this is a W115 Mercedes. Actually a US spec model. It has only one owner, a guy here nearby which owned it, who owned it. He bought it in the US and took it here to Finland to drive it as a summer car here. I think the mileage was only 70,000 on this car. At least you can see that on the Traficom here in Finland, but I don't know if that is the correct number, but at least it's in very good condition. Almost no rust anywhere, just these small surfaced rust spots. There might be something when I start to sandblast this chassis. Maybe we'll find something to fix, but probably the best car until this day which I have started building. And the story with this car is that it was like a veteran car here in Finland, registered like a veteran car, and then the taxes are much cheaper and insurance is also cheaper because they think that you don't use a car this old that much, so it's like cheaper to have it registered like that. When you do that, it needs to be in very good original condition. And when I read the old papers from the inspection on this, they said that it was in perfect condition. So it was a really nice example of these. But sadly, the old owner drove it first in a ditch with this side first. So you can see a little bit here. This mount has been pushed inside, so I have to fix that one. This has to come straight down like that. So that's the only thing I have to straighten out on this chassis, so not that much. And then when he drove it in the ditch by accident, the car got a total repaint, which you can see on this side still a little bit. Very good paint on it. I think it was in 2018 or some year ago. It got repainted and checked everything, so they drove it again after that. But then sadly there was some fire accident in the engine bay. I'm not sure what happened, but it caught fire and burnt the whole engine and cable harness. And everything like that got destroyed here in the engine bay. And that was very sad because the US model had the air conditioning from original in this. And a lot of different cool stuff which the normal Finnish models don't have. So everything got destroyed. The hood was all bent from the heat and the front grille got destroyed. And the windscreen got also destroyed. And then the instrument panel melted a little bit. And also the inner roof got some damage. But luckily they had some seat covers in the car, so the red leather seats are in pretty good condition. I think I just have to wash them and check if they actually are in good condition, because they are a little bit black now from the fire. There was a owner between me and the original owner. Actually, my trusted car painter, Kiitola Bilmåleri, had this car for a while and started taking it apart and did some prep work for the new painting, so that's why it looks like this now here. Then I bought it from him, and it has been laying here in my shed for a couple of years, and now it was time to finish this. The thing with this project also is that it was a 2.5 liter straight six gasoline engine from stock with manual transmission. And you can't register a car directly to diesel nowadays here in Finland. You have to send in some papers and pay 400 euros, and then maybe it gets accepted to build it with the diesel engine. So that was the only thing that was a little bit confusing with this project, but luckily I got it accepted. So this car will be equipped with this om648 320 CDI from 2004 E-Class Mercedes. These are like the new OM606. These take pretty good amount of power and are pretty easy to tune. There are some plug and play options for these now, and I will start looking at that now. What have to be done to these engines to make them take the power. And this, I bought a whole car with this engine in it, and I drove it a little bit to check that everything works. And the car had 700,000 kilometers on the clock. The engine don't really seem to have run that much, and it has some writing here, ehjä, in Finnish, which means like okay. So I think at least the head has been off it, maybe, or if the whole engine has been replaced. So I will anyways open this engine, check everything, and put new head gasket and all the mods you need for it. So this will be an interesting build, from going from the 606 engine to this one. So now when all the isolation and all the rubber shit has been scraped off the car, and before it gets sandblasted, I wanted to try the engine inside. What I have been doing here is I have the gearbox mounted behind the engine, 722.6 from a W210 model, which I will try with. And I have an oil pan from a 124 model with OM606 naturally aspirated engine. So it has like a big hole right here where it used to sit some kind of oil cooler or something. So I will fit a plug in that hole later. But as you see here, you can see it's about 5 millimeter clearance, so I can't get it any further back. And I don't think it's need to be that either. Here is about 5 centimeters still to give, but then the tunnel is a bit tight for the gearbox, and it has just deformed a little bit upwards from the original shape just by lifting the gearbox with the jack, so I could get it to fit better. And I think this is a good position for the engine right now. It's like laying on the front subframe right now with the oil pan. And I have this as a support, and also this which pulls it to the side, and then that clamp which pulls it down to that side. And I have measured now, so it should be straight straighten the car, and the crankshaft is in the middle between the frame rails. So I think I will go with this position. I first tried with a om648 oil pan, but that one has not enough room right here, because this oil pan has like a slot here that fits exactly the 115 subframe, but the like om606 and 613 oil pans has like not that much of a slot right there, so it was not possible. But I also have shaved off a little dent on this front piece of the front subframe, so I could get it about 2 centimeters lower on the front and also in the rear. In the subframe I have taken almost 3 or 4 centimeters down of the shape in the corners, but also of the whole shape of it. It has been lowered. I can show it later when I have the engine out, if I remember. But now it's time to make some engine mounts. Just something in here between. I will go get the original ones. I don't think I have any use for them because they go like straight to the subframe, so I need to get the bushing in there between. And I will try to use the same Scania mounts. Here you can see it's pretty tight, so I need to build them like in an angle like that so I can get it mounted on the rubber bushing. So when building a car this old, it's important to have some wheels from the same time the car was made. So I got these Serral Baroque wheels. I have not really seen what brand or made in Germany they are, but I think they are some kind of OEM like extra you could choose with the car. These are in pretty rough shape. They have a lot of different bumps and stuff, and these are only 15-inch diameter and not that wide. I think they are only 6-inch or 5.5-inch wide. So these will be a great piece of wheel to cut into pieces and make 3-piece wheels from. So I have now cut one wheel, and I have to see a little bit how I will make the fastening of the new barrels. I have these new stainless steel barrels which I bought for my AMG Aero 3 wheels, and these actually fit pretty nice here. So I think I will order another batch of these barrels, inner and outer barrels, for this wheel project. But I have to install the axles on the car first to check the clearances, how wide I can make them, and the offset and so on. And for the cutting I'm using this good old jig for the angle grinder, which is with bearings like that, and this aluminium like saw blade, so it's nice to split them here when you can rotate it. So I measured these center pieces, and it came to that I have to machine this part pretty much all the way down, because it's not enough material here, or it is, but I want a little bit more to make the holes in. So now I'm machining the whole edge here away, just make a chamfer right there, and I'm going to make the same on the other side. And I found these here at work. These are the exact right diameter to make this little piece from. I just need this outer piece to weld on here. So my friend will help with the welding here at work. So So I have machined this, and here is the next one coming. Made a jig to bolt them up in the right bolt holes, so should be straight and nice. Then I have to machine this center piece away from these discs so they can be welded on, and then last machine the small holes in them. The finishing touches on the extra piece is coming right now in the machine, and all these centers have now been machined, chamfered from both sides, ready for welding, and this is the extra material which is coming like this. Just fill with the weld from the both sides, and then I have to clean the surface and drill the holes. So now the wheel project is pretty much done. Paint and new lips and barrels. The same lips as these. I don't think these fit. These are for the 10-inch wide offset wheels, but I think I have to wait until I have the axles and everything mounted to the car, so I can try how wide wheels I can fit under it. I got a nice package from my good friends at Kangaroo's team. They sent me this cast iron manifold for the om648 and 613 engines. So I have checked so it fits exactly in the engine bay. It was a bit tricky clearance here under the flange when the frame rail comes pretty close, but it was possible to use this, luckily. And then there's a flange already for the wastegate. And I also got a wastegate from the Kangaroo's team. I think this is a Chinese copy of the Tial ones, but they work great in diesel use. This is all now ready for painting. And I also received this package all the way from Montreal in Canada. A guy named Robert posted these on a Facebook group. He bought this kit some years ago and did never manage to fit it to his car, so it's unused stuff, just a couple years old. And it's from some company called Twisted Images, who make these mounts for the air suspension bags. And the bags are Slam Specialties bags, so you can buy them separately from their web shop if they break anytime. But I have heard that these bags are pretty good quality and nice to use. So these should be bolt on now for the 115 chassis. I think the rear ones can be installed just like they are, but the front ones need to be welded. But I think I have to wait until I have the axles sandblasted and painted under the car, because I have taken all the bushings out of the control arms already, so it's pretty hard to fit them right now. So I have to destroy the painting a little bit and weld them if I have to, but have to see how it looks later on. And then, as you might have seen, the rear shock comes through the rear spring, so that's not possible here. I have seen some kits which has the shock inside the bag, but I haven't heard any good about those. So this solution is like a relocation of the rear shocks. So these are new ones, don't know the brand of them. Something like this Feels pretty stiff and nice. So we'll try with those. They also sent a part number for some other shocks here on the instruction manual, but we'll try with these now. Those mounts come in the rear anti-roll bar mounts, so that should be bolt on. But then these lower mounts has to be welded to the under lower control arms. So I have to check how that fits when everything is bolted together. And this is some threaded rod, which I think is for the rear bags to be mounted in the rear end. And then I got also some hose to do the piping with. And I still need some controller for this, and 1 or 2 compressors and the air tank to fit in the trunk. So I will look at that later, but pretty nice looking setup right here. I can show you some other new parts I have got also. It's the same drive shafts as in the 123 fits in this car also. So I got two new ones and 1 spare if they break sometime, either in the 123 or this 115. And all the door and trunk seals, I found some web shop who makes some good priced replica ones. So this feels pretty nice, not that stiff. Only this like window support seal for the side windows. This is pretty stiff, but I think it's okay to get it fit. And all the steering parts are new here from the same web shop, and some control arm bushings, master brake cylinder, and then the chrome trim clip holder thing. A whole bag full of them. I don't know how many. I think it's 100 pieces right there, so I think that should be enough. And then I have front brakes for a 126 S-Class model. And those have ventilated front discs. These should be bolt on. If they aren't on this car, they are at least on the 123 model. So I might order another set of these for the 123 if I still have it for some time. Rear brakes are just new, original ones. There are no bolt-on, or maybe there are, but I didn't feel like I have to upgrade the rear brakes. So they are just new calipers and discs. And then this front shields, but I don't think these fit. I have to check later on, but they look a little small. So I don't know if I got the right ones, but I have to check that later. And then I have everything needed here. Parking brake, cables and propeller shaft support bearing and brake pads and all these ball joints and hardware, wheel bearings and small stuff. So it should be pretty much everything here what I need, but there might come some more later on. So not that much progress has been happening here to film, but I got to borrow this monster machine from my friend Kikke. He has this Mirka Deros RS model. I think it's a pretty new model from Mirka. Rotating sanding machine. Really effective to take off some paint with to bare metal. And also to sand some finishing with So big thanks to Kikke for borrowing me this. And I sent all the hardware and stuff away for yellow passivating. And we have done something like this from my work, so I know pretty much how it works, but I never done this. It was only with regular zinc, which turns silver. But this is like OEM with this yellow gold-ish color. So these are all the original bolts, the burned and rusted and painted ones from the car. Turned out like new. Just had to wash all the grease and underbody coating of them and send them away. So I have organized them a little bit, but I have pictures of everything where every small bolt goes, so shouldn't be a problem when I have it like this. Here is also a lot of like OEM bolts which I had here in my garage, so I threw them in the same package. All of this and also the hardware for my dad's Fiat project was only 110 euros to fix. So it's absolutely worth the money to get everything like shiny and brand new. This was all burnt and rusted. Didn't need no sandblasting or anything. It's straight and nice, just like new. And I just got home here to the garage to see this. My dad brought all this back home from the sandblasting and paint shop in Nykarleby. Lindvalls Måleri and Kenneth Maliniemi, who helped me out with all this job in just one weekend. Everything of this got sandblasted. I sanded all the bigger surfaces on both the doors and the car itself and the fenders and hood. And then he sandblasted everything which I didn't sand. So the loose body parts are now bare metal both in and outside. So I will deliver them like that to Kiitola Bilmåleri and he will fix the rest. And all of these smaller parts got blasted and painted black. So these are now ready to be mounted on the car. Turned out really nice. Paint in every small corner everywhere. This is the modified front subframe. You can see a little bit that it has been modified, but I think it will not stick out that much when it's mounted with the engine and everything. And the car turned out pretty good. Some small holes which I have to weld and fix, but it was much better than I expected. The firewall looks a little bit like shit, but I don't put any more work to it because it will come like sound isolating mat there, so it will be okay like that. And the rest of the car looks like new. Some small dents here and there, but it was good to get everything to bare metal and start from a new page. So this will now be fix the small holes which came out and then bring it to Kiitola. So he will do the finishing touches. I don't think I will keep it as a secret anymore, but this car will be kept white as it was from factory, but not the same white I think the original white color is a little bit like more yellowish. So I think I will use the same code as my white 190. I don't actually remember the code. I think it was 147 or 9. Mercedes original white color. It's a pretty white, bright and white color. So I think that will look good on this one. So now I will fix the small holes which came from the blasting, and then it's time to deliver it to Jepu. Yeah, and this is not the final color because this is only a primer. So this is just some base color which will be sanded a little bit, and then maybe another layer of primer, and then the final white. And now while the car is at Kiitola Bilmåleri, I can show you a new sponsorship deal done with Black Smoke Racing in Kokkola, Karleby. They are sponsoring me with all the nice stuff you need for a CDI engine, like this HX35 whole set, brand new turbo. And this has the internal wastegate, but I'm getting a hot side without that, so I will bring that back to them later. And I will use the wastegate I got with the Kangaroo's manifold, which is now painted and nice looking. And I will show you more later when I get all the rest of the parts from Black Smoke Racing, but now I got the turbo and this 400 CDI high pressure pump, which they have in stock at their place. You can buy them from their web shop. And then this new steel coupling between the high pressure pump and the sprocket, which spins it inside the engine. Because the original one, I don't know where I have it, but it's made out of something like cast material, so they usually break. And this is like a solid steel piece, which holds the power and rotation better. And I also got this 6-bar map sensor for the intake. And I will get much more parts from them later on, but I have not picked them up yet. But this will be a really big help for me, because like you might know, I have just built the 606 projects like this one, and I have not been in contact with this CDI stuff before. So they reached out to me and told me that we have everything you need, just promote us. So that I will do, because they have really nice solutions to everything for this engine. So I will be really stoked to show you guys what I'm building with the parts. And to start off with, I have to take one of these, because Monster Energy sent me a bunch of drinks. That is very useful here when building stuff like this. And here is now some parts for the engine, and I will go through them a little bit to show you what I've got. First off, we have this head gasket kit, and Black Smoke Racing told me that it has to be this Victor Reigns head gasket, because I think this has like 4 layers of like solid steel in the gasket, and some other models has like some softer material in some of the layers. So this is the best one, and they are using this same in their race car, I think. And it sounds like it should work, like you don't have to do anything special to it. And there we also have the exhaust manifold gasket and the intake gasket. And there is some rubber gaskets for thermostat housing and some other stuff, and also some injector seal washers. And wall cover gasket. And here we have the original pistons with original connecting rods. And these are some Chinese H profile connecting rods, which I got from a friend. But Black Smoke Racing also sells these types of connecting rods in their web shop. I think it's all exactly the same, like this. But I bought these a long time ago, so I will use these because of that. And I will now take these apart and put in some new piston rings. And I think it was not this Kolben Schmidt I got recommended, but they didn't have, on the web shop where I bought all this, they didn't have the right ones, and they said that these work great also. So I will run these piston rings, and the only thing I have to check with these connecting rods is that the piston pin is running smoothly in the upper hole, because there has been some problems with that. So if they feel sketchy, you have to clean the upper hole a little bit. And here is some more stuff. They told me at Black Smoke Racing I have to buy the thinnest washers I can find, and just clean the head real good where they seal, and then just install them properly. That will hold best power. And yeah, the cylinder head is at Kokkolan Moottorihioma right now. I think it's already been done and I have to pick it up, but I will get it sometime when I have some other stuff to pick up from Kokkola. Here is also some rubber seals. This is for the front cover on the engine, for some water or oil canal, I think. And here is a gasket for the oil cooler. I will run the original oil cooler for the engine, which is like a water exchange heater, or cooler, I mean, on the engine. And they work good even in this heavier use. So no need for a separate one. And then I have new head studs or bolts. It's possible to use the old ones if they are under a certain measurement, but I don't want to take any risks, so I bought new ones. And this belt tensioner and all the pulleys, and I think this is the wrong length of the belt, but I have to measure which one is the correct, because I'm going to delete the air conditioner pump. And here is the main bearings and the connecting rod bearings, new ones, Mahle bearings. And there is a new thermostat housing with a new 87-degree thermostat, new water pump, and this had to be the one from the om648 without the thread for the Visco fan. So this is just a slicker one. Gasket for the water pump, and then these main seals for the crankshaft. And I got told that these need to be the rubber models, because that there is another model which is like some plastic or Teflon one. So when you press it in, it very easily slips too far and falls inside the front cover of the engine. So it's easier to buy this rubber one, which is easier to fit. And then I have some new oil filters and diesel filter also. And Black Smoke Racing also gave me some good tips with the engine, that if I want to use the vacuum pump, I have to take that from the om648 engine. It looks like this, because the 648 has the breather right here, and it has no, I don't think I know what this is. Looks like some kind of fuel pump on the 613 engine, so I don't think I will have to use this one. So I just make a plug there or something. But then I have to change also this cam chain sprocket, which has this part, or I think you can only take that part out, but you need that centerpiece at least to rotate the vacuum pump. So you need this piece, which comes in the end of the camshafts, the cover, and then the vacuum pump from a 613 engine with this also. And then with the breather, new breather position, you also need the valve cover of a 613 engine, because it has the breather right here mounted on top like a plastic thing. So I have that one here. So that will be a much nicer fit. And the 613 engine has like a water-cooled alternator, which looks like this. And then it's some water canals which comes out to the alternator, so it's better to use the 648 front engine cover, which doesn't have those water canals right there. And they told me that the 613 has a little bit bigger valves in the cylinder head. I don't remember if it was on both intake and exhaust side, but some of them were bigger than the 648, but it doesn't have that big of a difference, so I will use the 648 head and also the rest of the engine block and internals. So this is the rest of the 613 engine, what I have left of it, and it's possible also to put this back together, but I have also taken the oil pump from this, because I don't remember if I told you, but I will use this 606 oil pan, which fits directly in the front subframe, but I have to make the rear part of it a little bit different, because the starter ring gear is much bigger on the CDI engine. So I will see if the material is enough here to just take out some on the inside, or if I have to cut the rear piece of this 613 oil pan, maybe just like the 3 or 4 centimeters here to just fill the gap so it doesn't throw in all the shit from the roads. So I was just about to start assembling the bottom end, and then I discovered something that I didn't know about until now. These rods which I just bought them for a 320 CDI engine, but it's not the same rods and pistons in a 613 and a 648, because this top end is like, you see, a different type. This is a 613 rod, and it matches the new one, but this one has the different shape, and if you buy the rods from Black Smoke Racing, you get these ones, so they fit in both types of engines. But now when I have those rods, I had to disassemble the 613 engine all the way and then use these pistons from that engine. They fit directly in the 648. Here you can maybe see the difference also. It's hard to see, but you can see that the rods won't fit without some machining, but in my case it was easier to just take these out. So I will put these 613 pistons in the 648 engine. Now while I'm waiting for some parts, I gave this 400 CDI pump from Black Smoke Racing a little sandblast or glass blast to get it look a bit nicer, so I can paint it later. And then I removed the part from here, which was holded by four bolts, these Torx bolts, and I got told from Black Smoke Racing that I need to remove these two sprockets from the pump, so that when I have put a 044 pump from the fuel tank connected straight to the high pressure pump, I think I don't need a fuel pressure regulator when it's done like this, because then it flows like great through it. So I think it was that way. I had to check it later, but I would remember that he told me like that. And now I just put it back together without the sprockets inside. It was held, this piece was held together with the small holes, one there and one there inside, with these small rivets, which I had to drill to get open, but don't think those need to be there anymore. We'll just put it back together. Now while the paint is drying on the high pressure pump, I started to check this oil pump from the 613 engine. And here is like this kind of clip which is holding the pressure regulator inside the pump. And this is the first thing that comes out, just a flat washer which is behind that clip. And then this plastic pipe is coming out, and inside the pipe there is a spring. And they told me at Black Smoke Racing that I should shim this spring with 3 of these just regular M8 washers. So I just drop them inside here, the plastic pipe. So I get a little more tension on the spring. It comes like this, and then just put it back together. And when doing that, you get a little bit more oil pressure on lower RPMs, which is a common problem on these CDI engines. So that little mod should fix the problem. So it has been a small break here with the engine building because I didn't have any bolts for the connecting rods. But I received them today, so we can go through a little bit. And here I have also the Fiat engine, which I have been building now while waiting for parts. Looking really nice with all the painted and blasted and yellow passivated stuff. But here we have the Holy Grail. Just picked up these parts. I still haven't got everything I need, but here is the most of it. And to start off with, the head came back from Kokkola Moottorihiomo. It has now been resurfaced And one issue with these, which you probably will not find another, or you can't find a head without cracks. See if I can focus right there from the glow plug or injector. Glow plug hole it is here. So there is a small crack, and this in almost every cylinder, a small crack. So that is just something you have to live with. But it's now checked and everything is looking great. They have cleaned the injector holes where the seal is coming from the injectors, and it is ready to be torqued back in place. So big thanks to Kokkola Motor Hiomo. And yeah, also the valve springs has been upgraded to the same ones I have been always using. So it's safe to rev this up to much more than needed. So that's a good upgrade. You can DM Kokkola Motor Hiomo on Instagram or send them an email to get your own valve springs. And then to this pile of stuff. This is everything now from Black Smoke Racing in Kokkola, Finland. And to start with, we have these upgraded injectors. These are now the street model. And they have been cleaned and replaced the inner parts with all the needed goodies, so you can raise the power. Then we have this 6-bar MAP sensor, also from Black Smoke Racing, which will be installed in the boost pipe or intake manifold. And this is a like trigger sensor, which will be mounted on the gearbox. And I still haven't got the trigger wheel, which will become mounted on the propeller shaft. And this will be reading from that the speed signal, so you can get all the data to the gearbox ECU. And here is the sprocket gear for the high pressure pump, upgraded machined one from Black Smoke Racing. And this is the part which spins the high pressure pump. This is now solid steel, laser cut, very nice. And here is the connecting rod bolts, which I will install now. And then we have the ultimate cheat code for this build, a whole cable harness for the engine. And this is very golden stuff for me, because I hate making all the electronic stuff in these car builds. So this is a plug and play system. The only thing you have to do is make some signals to the ECU with the connector which comes from the car. So it's like the electronics when you switch the key on and such stuff. So very easy stuff. I will go through that later. But this is a really nice piece here. Everything has been marked with own tags, so you know where to put everything. And here is the high pressure pump from a 400 CDI engine. I have cleaned it and painted it black just to make it look a little bit nicer. And I will go through how to fit this on the engine later on. And the turbo, which I showed you, I still haven't received the other hot side without the wastegate, because I have the Kangaroo's wastegate I will be using. But big thanks to Black Smoke Racing for sponsoring me all this stuff. This is really nice having when doing these custom builds. They also have a lot of merch, which you can buy, sunglasses and caps hats and socks and all types of sweaters and jackets and stuff, so you should check their web stores out. I can put a link in the description. So that was all for this episode. I'm still waiting for the car to come back from Kiitola Bilmåleri so I can start fitting some nice new stuff like this. So I'm really looking forward to this engine build to see if I can get everything working and running like I was planning. So hope you stay tuned. Bye.